welcome to the R to the J podcast. Today we have a special guest. His name is Daniel Cruz from Cruz Events. I don't know if you heard about him. He's a professional
Decorator.
There you go. For events, right?
Yeah.
Events. Cruz Events.
Cruise Events. That's
yeah.
right.
Okay,
Yes.
so tell the viewers like who and what do you do?
So my name is Daniel Cruz. A local boy, right? Born and raised in Port Arthur. Graduated from Memorial in 2004. Went to college to Port Arthur, Lamar University. I was unsure is what I'm going to say of what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah. What did you go for Lamar University for?
I went for nursing.
Nursing? Okay.
Nursing. And then at some point I was taking music classes and I was taking piano because in church. I was just wasting my dad's money.
Yeah.
So it was difficult because I couldn't really find myself. Like I didn't really know what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And so I went to school. I spent a lot of time. I won't say I wasted time because it wasn't a waste of time. I learned some things, met some cool people, and then I dropped out. And then I started just trying to find like odd jobs, just trying to make money, right? I was getting older. I was 19 and I was like, my dad
still
works
young
there.
though, you know what I mean?
I felt old because my
Yeah.
dad, worked a lot. My mom worked a lot and it was just time for me to make my own money. And so I would just start looking for odd jobs. I worked at a hospital because I thought I wanted to be a nurse, right? And then that was quickly showed me I didn't want to be a nurse. And I didn't want to work at a hospital. And then
Was that because like dealing with the people who were sick or what?
Yeah, basically, yeah. It was difficult. You have to have a strong stomach. You have to be able to be emotionally stable at all times.
Yeah, I could imagine how much
it was
emotion
really,
takes you.
Yeah, and so even just at that point, I was just filling out paperwork. But one day I had to go put a wristband on someone who had come in from an accident who was basically in a coma. And so it was like almost touching a dead person's hand to try to put a wristband on them. And it was just really, really weird. So I quickly found out that wasn't for me, right? But it was a great experience only because I got my feet wet. So I had that job, was making some money, felt proud of myself. Finally started driving at 19. My dad got me a vehicle and I was helping pay, for gas and stuff like that. And so I needed to grow up.
Yeah.
And so that was really my first true job. And then I worked with Sulema, my cousin, she helped me out there, worked there for a little bit. And I worked with my dad some. He's a welder, but I was like, this is too hot and this isn't for me. It just wasn't. I worked there for 2 months.
Oh yeah, especially
July.
I could imagine like especially last year. Last year was crazy hot. So
Yeah, it wasn't even that hot when I worked there, and it was bad. So my dad said, "Well, then you need to go back to school," and I didn't. But I ended up going back to what was called the Hewen Center. It was a residential facility for students with special needs. I think we used to take the youth members there, take them pizza, had parties, and then the director, Monty Osborne, at that time. He saw us there and he offered me a job. And I said, why not, right? I mean, I didn't have a job at that time, so I figured I'd go ahead and take it. And that's where I want to say the inspiration for Cruz Events kind of started. The head cook at that time, Phyllis Branch, she's from Port Arthur. She had a social organization in Port Arthur, and she would see what we would do for the kids there, and she was like, oh, you have an eye for the decoration. It's pretty. Can you decorate our banquet?
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And literally that was my first gig in actually decorating. And so it's weird the way things work out, right?
Yeah.
I had no idea who this lady was, and now she's a great friend. She texts me, she calls. We've been doing her banquet since like 2009.
Yeah, so that's one question I was going to ask you. Why you started Cruz Events? And I'm guessing that you just fell in love doing that.
I fell in love with it, and she gave me the opportunity. She in the organization, and so in 2015. So that year, that December, I was already with my partner at that time, Adam, and he had seen that over the years my passion was deep for decorating things. So
Mm-hmm.
by 2016, or 15, I was already working at Bob Hope School. I started there in 2010, and so same thing, working with the students, decorating for their events. Phyllis was still there, and so I kind of just grew. And in 2015, that December, that banquet, Adam and I decided that it was time to launch the business.
Yeah.
I had inventory, I had decorations, and I said, why not make some money off of it, right?
Mm-hmm. What kind of inventory you have to
So
have?
so my dad actually built some metal, they're like metal columns, and we would put lights inside of them, and
Mm-hmm.
we'd wrap it with like foil curtains, and it was just really cool. He made me some poles like to hang pictures on. So he was very supportive of it. He loved welding. He was really good at it. Still is. And so he made me some of those props.
Oh, okay.
We
Nice.
bought linen, we bought centerpieces, and so we just decided to start making money off of it, right?
Yeah.
So literally January 1st of 2016, we went and filled out the paperwork, and we had the DBA as Cruz Events.
Yeah.
And so we've been open literally since January 1st of 2016.
Yeah. So this is a very niche business, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's you really have to love it, and you really truly have to be good at it. And I didn't really know that I was, right, until I started playing around with things. I always see it in my head, right? In the design, when people start talking about what they want for like their weddings or for proms, like in my head, I see all these images just
Yeah.
going crazy. And they're like, so do you understand what I want? And I'm like, yeah. I said, I'm like, it's right here. I said, let me put it on paper for you. But when we put it on paper, it's not like pictures, right? It's just words. It's like, so this color tablecloth, this kind of centerpiece, this drape, like this is where we're gonna do stuff. And so I just basically tell them, you've got to trust me.
Yeah. Do you already know the layout of the location where you gotta decorate?
Yeah. So we started doing what's called walkthroughs of the venues. And so the team and I go and we look at the space. A lot of them are are very repetitive, like the event center, very popular in Beaumont, Bell Oaks, out here, not too far from here, towards Fournette.
Okay.
And so we've become familiar, but the client wants you to walk them through it and say, look, that's where your sweetheart table is going to go. The drapes are over here, the lighting. This is how the centerpieces will kind of look, on the tables. And to be able to just walk them through so that they can kind of start, imagining what it's going to look like. So, we don't always know, but the venues are really good at providing you with layouts as well. So I tell them we need 20 tables. This is kind of how I want them. And so they'll put them in the computer and they send us a PDF of it.
Okay.
And so that way I can share that with the team and say, look, these tables are going to have these chairs. These tables are going to have these tablecloths. The drapes go in this area. And so we all have the vision before actually getting there on site.
Yeah. Do you think later on, I don't know if you guys doing this right now, but you said computer and stuff like so. I'm thinking, okay, are you guys able to put on like the layout in the computer, like a 3D model rendering, or?
So yeah, this year we finally went from old school, just like literally we would have team meetings and we would write down. So like, this is the centerpiece, this is this, this is that. Now we utilize Canva. Canva's the thing to use. And so we received training on that a few months ago. And so literally you can put pictures of like what your centerpiece is going to look like.
Yeah.
You can put the layout in there and designate which tablecloths are going on which tables. It's the coolest thing ever. So you can not just write it out what you're going to do, but you can see it. And so that way the team is literally seeing it as we're discussing it and designing it. And the day of, they have it on their phone, the Canva app. So if they have questions of like, hey, what was going over there, they can look it up. So it's all there. So we plan ahead so that way we don't waste time the day of.
So it's just kind of like an app that you guys have to use. Okay.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever.
Oh, I bet.
Best thing ever.
So what kind of obstacles have you faced so far?
I think in the beginning it was just trying to get business, right? Like, who's this person who thinks he can decorate, right?
Yeah, I could imagine. I'm having this. Sometimes I have the problem too. Like, hey, I'm starting a podcast. You want to come in? You know what I mean?
Who
we're gonna
are
talk,
you,
yeah,
right?
What's
going on?
What we're gonna talk about? Like you know what I mean? Pretty much that's what I'm doing. Just to let the people know who you are and stuff. You know what I mean? What's your business? How you could help them out? You know what I mean? Pretty much help out the community.
Exactly, and it's having that faith and believing that what you're doing is gonna get you somewhere, and that your hard work is going to pay off, right? And so that was probably the hardest thing at the beginning. Just, is this really going to work? But I still had a full-time job. So I was the assistant principal at that time at Balm Hope when we started the business. And so I was like, okay, well, if it doesn't work out, I'm still getting paid because I have a full-time job. But in my head, I knew I wanted it to grow, right? And so the biggest obstacle was basically being able to afford to buy new inventory, because like with design, you have to keep up with the styles. You can't keep using the same tablecloths for 3 years, right? Like that's not going to work. Like you have to change it up, colors, designs, styles, textures. And so it was financially and then socially. So like who's going to want to hire me, because nobody knows my true experience. Like I didn't have a website. My Facebook was brand new.
Yeah.
Our stuff was just kind of sort of. My first wedding, none of my tablecloths were ironed. None of them. But you know what? It looked decent for our very first wedding. That was in 2016 in July. So it was the hottest month that year, and we were using hydrangeas, a type of flower, but they're very delicate and like they don't like the heat. So I was like, of course, in July, our very first wedding. But like you have to be able to get through those and post and show your growth. So in this field, you have to continue to exceed people's expectations. So people can't continue to see that you're stagnant and you're the same. You have to keep saying or showing people like what sets you apart from all of the other companies that then have come about since 2016.
Yeah. And how is the competition for this industry or this niche?
It's very competitive. It's very competitive in our area, surprisingly. So, I mean, since 2016, there's probably been 50 new balloon
Oh, really? That much?
businesses. That many.
Wow, I didn't even notice, you know?
Rentals, you've got probably a good 15, you know.
Yeah.
It became, in 2016, the only ones I knew of were Stephanie Doe, and she's still amazing. And then myself, and then Swinkies, which Swinkies was amazing. They went they sold their business a year and a half ago, I think. But there wasn't really any competition then, right? Or at least I didn't think so, because I wasn't really paying attention, I guess. But right now, everybody wants to have a pretty party. Everybody wants balloons. Everybody wants flowers. Everybody wants lounge furniture. And so, you know, so many more people know, well, I can make money being able to do that, right? You know, being able to decorate for parties. So it is difficult. And one of the things that makes it the most difficult is when other companies don't charge what they should be charging, right?
And so they go lower or something. Just
they'll lowball it so that they can. And to each their own. It's fine. You know, it is what it is. And especially when you're brand new, you can't charge. So like our balloon team leader, Ashley, her balloons are well worth what we charge because she's really, really good at it. But if you have someone who's starting, of course, their prices are going to be lower. And that's fine because you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So I tell the team, you know, we can't focus on who else is coming in. We just got to use that as inspiration to continue doing better.
Yeah.
Right. And so we always work on new designs, new looks. Like, what is the next thing? Because there's people in this industry who are already working on what's coming for 26. So they've already done what's coming for 25, what's coming for 26, and we have to be alertos, right? Well, we have to be in the know. And so I tell them we just got to utilize that as fuel to keep doing better.
Yeah, there's a competition always kind of helps you out, you know, like Pepsi and Coke, you know.
You can't let them distract you.
Yeah, and you say you've been doing this for like already like what 8 years so far. So like, how's business going? It's like, you know, I imagine first year would probably you had, I don't know, I'm guessing 10, 20, and how much have you gone through in growth?
Yeah, the growth is insane. Thank God, it's been insane. We went full time. So from 2016 to 2018 was part time. I tried to take it full time in 2018. So business is thankfully going well. we've already seen a large increase even from last year. As I mentioned, in 2016, it was just part-time, so I wasn't really gauging the income profit margins because, again, I had a salary from the job that I had.
Yeah.
But in 2018, we tried to take it full-time. In April of that year, it didn't work. I went back into education like 2 months later, literally.
Yeah.
And then I finally decided education, I was done for that time. And so in April again of 2021, we went full time, but it was like full steam ahead, and it was like we have to make it happen. Like it has to work because I don't have a backup plan.
Yeah. How were you advertising? Like just on Facebook or?
Facebook was the main thing. So we already had a pretty good following by 2021, but everybody understood that it was very, very part time. So before I left Bob Hope, I was already emailing venues. I was already emailing people, hey, like we're going full time. So, we're looking to collaborate. This is what we need to do. So you have to think, thinking ahead.
Yeah.
And so it took the rest of that year basically to, ramp up our Instagram, our LinkedIn, Facebook, and then just emails. And you have to follow up because these people are busy, right? Like they're business owners too. So you have to be like, hey, so I sent you an email, just checking up again. Can we meet? Like, can you recommend me? Those types of things. So 2021 was rough, very rough, just because, we had to almost reestablish ourselves because we were then going full time.
Yeah. Did COVID affect you guys during that time?
Yes, COVID was rough. So we literally had a wedding. The world shut down that Tuesday or Wednesday, and we had a wedding that Saturday. We had just paid for $1,500 of fresh flowers. That's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of flowers. And so, I just told her we're gonna work with you, right? And again, it hurt us a bit, but 2020 I was still working full time at Bob Hope, so it was a loss-ish, but not really, just because I couldn't feel it because we still had an income, right?
Yeah.
But the business, we probably refunded about $15,000 that year, and that was a lot because, again, we were very part-time, and so we just felt it was the best thing to do, and then hopes that those clients will come back and continue to recommend us, right? And so our plan worked. They continued to recommend us. They came back, and so COVID sucked, right? And but that wedding was rescheduled for that fall. Everything went well, and so it was a learning, experience for everyone, I'm sure. But we were able to survive that, we were able to survive it. We just had to be very careful because we were dealing still with large crowds. So like I, suggested to my, team, if you want to wear gloves, if you want to wear masks, like here's Germex, like we provided all of that for them. We even had masks that said Cruz Events, like it had our logos on them.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And so but that time was also difficult because, and then if your team member was sick, who was going to be able to replace them? And so building relationships is something that we've done really well because we understand that we can't do it all ourselves. And so we work with a lot of other local businesses that do decorating. So like Ashley is our balloon team lead, but like for Motiva, a few months ago, July, she probably had to do about 10,000 balloons, like inflate them and design them. She can't do that on her own. Like that's physically impossible, right?
Yeah. I mean, she ain't doing old school, like actually blowing.
No. She's got machines, but like that puts a toll on your fingers, just tying them and being able to get them up, right? Design them. And so we work with Jonah and Gabby, they're really good friends of ours, and they came in and they helped her, right? So Ashley led it, and then they come in and, they help with the design. And so we work really well with, like I said, a lot of local businesses. Our website features over 100 small local businesses that do like catering or bartending, decorators, wedding coordinators, venues. And so when people are asking who does this makeup, who does that, I always comment and say, check out our website. These businesses are here and they're here on my website for free. And that way you don't have to ask. It's all in one stop. So like one stop shop, and it's all like categorized. So like if you're looking for rentals, if you're looking for photo booths, if you're looking for cakes, it's really cool. Like that was my biggest thing whenever we created the website, was to tell my website design guy.
Yeah, I'll make sure I'll link your website. Let me know as well, so that way.
It's the coolest thing.
Yeah, and your Facebook as well too. I know you have that. Anything?
Yeah, Facebook,
Instagram, and all that stuff.
Instagram. So our Instagram is very, I need to work on Instagram. But we hired our new COO, Gabby Brumfield, and so she's gonna help us with bettering our social media presence on Instagram, because she's like, that's where it's at right now. Like Facebook is old school now, right? Like, but that's where we depend on our social media platform.
Yeah.
But she said we have to get on Instagram, and then my niece, she runs our TikTok.
Yeah, I would say TikTok too, because the young generation, that's what they use pretty much.
But we need to do better on TikTok, because like you see a lot of TikToks, real short clips where like how they're doing stuff, or like they're being funny, silly, whatever.
Yeah.
But we don't do that. Like ours is very much so like clean cut and just very, I don't know, very professional. It's too much. Like it needs to. We need to let loose a little bit.
Have you seen those videos where it's an accident coming, and the people for the business show up? Those are hilarious. Some of them are really good.
Some of those are they're hilarious. So but that's what I'm saying. Like I don't really have that in me. So like Gabby does, and so part of her task is going to be to get my niece to do some of those reels and to be able to post them, so that way we can continue gaining followers and exposure through TikTok. Because I mean, if we don't stay with the times, then we'll get left behind and we'll be soon forgotten, and we don't want that.
And what events have you done so far? I know I think since your page, I think that you did Lamar's, let's see, Motivas, let's see, Crime Stopper, and they look nice. I like the pictures. I'll try to put some of the pictures on there.
Yeah, and you can check out on our Facebook. Our website, our portfolio page. I mean, we do quinceañeras. We do right now a lot of corporate events. So Motiva, we just booked Valero's Christmas banquet. We're really excited about that one.
Nice.
That one's gonna be really nice. They have very high expectations, and I'm a little stressed, but it's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
But this year we've literally done 2 weddings. 2. The rest of it has been corporate or like proms. We do a lot with Lamar University, and so they just like our style and the fact that we're able to coordinate. So like Motiva, when they come to us, they're like, okay, so then you need to find us. Like if we want cotton candy, we want caterers, we want this, they want you to do it. Like they want us to bring that in.
Yeah.
And so that's why, again, building those relationships with other vendors is really important, because then I can say, hey, I need a bid for this. We're going to do this at Motiva. I need this, and that. And so we work it out. So Motiva doesn't have to worry about anything else. They just come to us, and then we create what they want. We bring it in, and then they just come in and enjoy.
Okay, so, that's nice. You get to help out other companies with the business. You know?
And I mean, we love it, and so that's really important for us.
And how's the team has grown? I know at first probably when you started it was just you probably. And,
it was me and my niece, Marlene. So she's been with me since the beginning, but right now it's 5 of us. It's 5 employees. So we're now an S Corp. So I'm now paying myself like an employee.
Okay.
It's 5 of us. Everybody has their title, their position, what their duties are, what they're overseeing in the design aspect. We offer, so in 2022, we went to actual payroll. So we pay federal taxes, state taxes, local taxes, unemployment taxes, every tax in the world. And then we do all the insurance and stuff like that. My husband was like, well, do you really want to do that? And I'm like, no. I said, but if you want a loan for like a venue, right? Like I'm saying a venue, I'm putting it out there. Like I want a venue, but if we don't do that, then whenever you goes for loan time, they're going to want to be able to know that you're a responsible business owner and that you can actually pay for this and budget for it.
Paper trails, right?
Paper trails, very important. And shout out to Nancy Zepeda with Gracie. Gracie Finances? She's our new bookkeeper. Yeah, and she's taking care of all of our books.
Yeah, I had her on a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I like her. She's very
Nancy's
nice.
Amazing. Yeah, yes, and so she's now overseeing our books. And she created our business plan. So any business out there that needs a business plan, she did an amazing job on ours. And so it's just to be able to do that. I have actual team members, employees. It's just really important for me. And so that has been a learning curve as well, because you have to know how much to charge in order to be able to cover your overhead. So you have to know how much in taxes you're going to have to pay for your employees, like how much in the taxes that we collect they're paid every month.
Yeah.
And so it's been difficult, but it's getting easier for us to manage. So yeah, so it's 5 of us right now, but we bring in a lot of contracted people to help us.
Okay, yeah. And you doing like events like every weekend, or how's that set up?
Right now this year, it's actually been very heavy on the weekday events.
Really?
Because corporate, they don't really do anything on weekends. Like, that's their time to be at home, right?
Exactly,
like, they work Monday through Friday, and so they'll do evening stuff, they'll do lunch stuff. And so like this coming Thursday, we're doing the safety awards for ISTC. They're expecting about 900 guests. It's gonna be at the Port Arthur Civic Center, and we're decorating. And so it's during the day, and that's a very, very labor-intensive event, right? That's a lot of people that we're having.
900
centerpieces, tablecloths, draping, lighting, the podiums, designs, balloons. But and then on Saturday we have a very small wedding draping.
Okay.
Like
so you do little things, even birthday parties, and
we don't nothing's too small or nothing's too large for us to do. And so I'm gonna go ahead and let the secret out of the bag. But with our new employee, our new team member, Gabby, her expertise is in baby showers, graduations, and bridal showers. We don't really do a lot of that, but we're about to. And so she's going to be creating packages. We don't do packages normally. We itemize everything. It's very specific to what our client wants, but she's bringing in a package deal for like anywhere from 50 to 75 guests, no more than that. And then it'll tell you what we offer, plate chargers, centerpieces, backdrops. And then we can do, like, she does really good with cutesy stuff like that, like just very, very beautiful details for like what you expect for a baby shower and a graduation. And so we'll be announcing that hopefully within the next week. And we're hoping that that will be another area that we can really dominate, right? And so that's an area that kind of fell off for about 1.5 years. Because, again, the competition or other businesses, I understand this, money's tight sometimes. And so you still want to party, but you have to be budget conscious. And so we don't normally typically fit that just because, we do pay employee taxes and, all that other stuff. So our overhead has to be a little bit higher, our cost. But we're hoping that these packages will bring in a new set of clients and be able to still make something really beautiful for them, at a lower range.
Yeah. But that's one thing I was going to ask you, like price range. Like, I know it's going to be different from, let's say, a quinceañera compared to like a corporate event, you know what I mean? So what's the like price range you think? I know you go big on like... I think
our largest event to date is probably about 52,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so that's just, but it's, you have to think about it. The time of the year, flowers are more expensive in December and in February than they are in July.
Yeah,
right?
and that's something you're gonna know because you're gonna have to price those as well.
So I mean, the $50,000 event, in December could have been maybe a little bit, less in June because of the flower cost, right? Roses triple in December because, they're not only getting ready for Christmas, red roses, but they're getting ready. What they told me, they pluck them and start getting them ready for Valentine's Day. So all of that you have to know and learn, right? So that was our largest, but it just depends on what the client wants. And I always tell the clients, I don't want to sit here and you tell me you don't know what your budget. Like, I want you to tell me what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like I said, because and then you stress everybody else out.
Yeah.
So like, don't do that to yourself. I said, because if we can't fit your budget, I can recommend you to someone else that's really, really good here locally that can probably work with you within your budget.
Yeah. So it'd be good for a guy, somebody tell you, okay, I got quinceañera for my daughter. It's gonna be 20 amount of people. I got $4,000 or $5,000 to put down. What can you do? Or can you do it?
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Correct. And so, if I tell them, look, you've got 5,000, you're looking at more like 6,500. Do you want me to proceed with the bid? Sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they say no. And I said, okay, if it's no, here's someone else that I know may be able to do something for you.
Yeah.
Right. And so then I am able to recommend one of my friends or another local business who can do a package deal for them. And then that potential client for me is no longer a potential client, but it's a friend that I've made because I was honest enough to tell them this other person can help you out with this, right?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine. That's
Which
not a
fine, because
problem.
I mean, you're telling the truth, you know what I mean? So they respect you more for that.
Exactly. Yeah. And so again, it's building those relationships, not just with other businesses, but with the community. And so, it's the way that you handle the client. Like, you don't make them feel bad about their budget, because that doesn't matter at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's a business. We have to run it as such. We have to make money. There has to be a profit margin. And so then you can recommend them to someone else who can help them out. Right?
Yeah.
So,
and somebody who's starting off, help them out, you know? Just
exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So what I call last question, I think you kind of answered this already. What's the future for Cruz Events?
Future for Cruz Events, continue to grow the team. We're adding new inventory. We'll be announcing that. That one I won't announce yet, because I do want to announce with pictures. But we're going to be adding some items to our inventory. Continue to grow the team, and then at some point I would like a venue. Right. I know we have several beautiful ones here in the area that we like to work with, but again, in my head, I have something that I want. Right. It's going to be, I don't know, the Cruz building. I don't know. We'll come up with something fun for the name, but
I go fix up our barn and then rent it out every once in a while.
You've got plenty of land here. But yeah, so in my head, that's what it is. But I'm and Sandy knows, a very firm believer in that God has a plan and God has His time, and I can try to rush it all I want, but it's not going to happen when I want it. And so I just have to stand firm in that. And until then, you work and you stick with it, and you do what you have to overcome the obstacles. And Cruz Events will be 10 in a year and a few months, and that's going to be a really huge milestone. And we hope that we are still doing well by that time. But the future is to continue growing, to be very much so like a Houston type event decor business, and be the luxury that Southeast Texas deserves.
So within 5 years, maybe double your employees and also have your own spot venue where you could do all your things.
That is absolutely right.
Anything other tips for the viewers? Chase the dreams.
I say don't give up. Right. That's my biggest thing. No te desanimes. Don't be disheartened, and be okay with knowing that maybe that's not the right time. When I took Cruz Events full time in 2018, I did it because I was frustrated at my work. Yeah. I was upset. I was annoyed, and I said, I have to get out of here. It wasn't the right time. I had no plan. Right. And when I fell on my face, flat on my face, I knew it was because I didn't wait. But I also didn't give up on it. I still tried. I gave it my all. It just wasn't that time. Yeah. But I never gave it up. I went back into education, and I kept Cruz Events still going where it needed to be at that time. So don't give up. Be patient. Work hard and build relationships. There's no reason to be catty or competitive. There really isn't. Everybody has their own unique style. Everybody has their own thing going on. And there's plenty of business for everyone. Yeah. I mean, despite even the economy now, like, everybody's still partying and people are throwing parties. And so it's okay. So don't give up.
Okay. Well, you heard it, guys. You guys got an event. Do you want Daniel to host? You know where to go. All right. Peace out.
Hit me up.